Well, hello there, this is Dan, and long story short, I released an album not so long ago. It's a big album, 11 tracks. I did everything, wrote the music, lyrics, did the bass, the guitars, the vocals, and I wanted to release also an instrumental version of this album, and I didn't like it. And I decided to redo everything. Not everything, but to redo the rhythm guitars and the bass. And 11 songs. This is a lot of work, and I wanted to share why I did this and how I did this. And first, let's discuss why. Basically, I wanted these songs to be more alive, more honest. This is kind of the point, to have more character, So I wanted to achieve that. And in general, I didn't like the sound and the way these songs were recorded, the instrumentals. This doesn't represent my current state and my view of how to make metal music. So I wanted to address that. And the third reason is to provide something new, right? So not to release the same album but without vocals, but also provide some new experience, new sound, new details, something like that. With that information, let's explore my typical project for recording and actually producing a song for this instrumental version of the album. And let's examine two tracks first. There is drums, and these drums are pre-mixed drums. They are taken out of the original version of the album. They provided to me by a sound engineer, so these are pre-mixed drums from the original version. The second track here is kind of the same, a pre-mixed track out of the original version, and this track contains all the leads, cleans, arrangements, all that stuff. And the reason why I didn't want to re-record all the arrangements, all the leads and cleans, one, a lot of them were recorded during the writing process, so they had the vibe, they had the vibe, and I didn't want to lose that. And I didn't want to spend time to figure out which parts to re-record, which parts to not re-record, so I decided not to do that, and also spare some time, because re-recording 11 songs, it's a lot of work and a lot of time, so yeah, I can spare some time at least here. There are some exceptions though, so I will switch to another project. So here you see in this track with all the arrangements, I cut out the solo part. Well, I'm not the solo player, but I would call this, I don't know, my expressiveness on the guitar, So I took out this solo part here, and I improvised a new one. So here's the new track with this solo. So also something new. And since the first version was also improvised, I decided it would be also good to re-record these sections on the album to provide a new experience as well. So with these tracks out of the way, let's talk about something that I actually recorded. And first, a couple of principles that I followed. First principle is no editing. So everything I recorded for this version wasn't edited at all, so just takes as they are. No DIs, so we will explore this a bit later, but there are no DI tracks recorded at all for this version. Usually what I like to do is to try to play as much as possible. So start playing and stop when it doesn't feel good anymore. So until I have a good feeling regarding what I'm playing currently, I will continue recording. And as you can see here, for example, this guitar track is more than 2.5 minutes long, and there are like lots of tracks like that. But still, even if I know that I will record the next section separately, for example, here you see main riff and then the verse is recorded separately, I still continue playing after the main riff to have a smooth transition at this place where the stakes are glued together. So I just continue playing, and then I will cut it where I need it, but still there will be this smooth transition. And the same applies for the next section. I will start playing earlier to have a smooth transition here and to get into the flow, to get into the vibe kind of thing. So yeah, here is that. And another benefit of that for me is that it serves sort of as a safeguard for garbage. I mean, this is a way to check if you can play your music without a stop, to play your sections in a row without stopping, to make the transitions. And I think this is important because if you cannot make the transition, that means that you might need to practice more this song, or you wrote garbage and you need to rewrite this part. So this is kind of a forced safeguard, right, to play better. So everything actually, all the principles that I'm using here, they are to force myself into being a better musician. And I'm trying to follow them. Regarding the DI tracks, I think it's important to listen with your ears, to listen to your intuition, to your feelings towards what you're playing, and stop listening with your eyes. That was a big problem for me. I was stressing over DI all the time. I wanted to make a perfect DI, so I'm kind of forcing myself into using my ears and my feelings more than I was using my eyes for a long time. Now let's take a look into bass first. So here's my bass track. Of course, recording following those principles. You can see here there is nothing in the effects, so nothing applied afterwards. Let's solo the bass and listen to the bass. The tone that I'm using is I'm playing my Dingwall NG3 6 string into Dark Glass Adam, and what you see here is the direct output of Dark Glass Adam, and the settings that you see on the picture right now, these are the settings that I used for recording of this album, and I also didn't use any custom IRs, so everything stock in the Adam. Basically you can do the same if you want, but I used a lot of tone shaping on the bass itself, so I used all the knobs of the preamp in the bass, so there is lots of tone shaping done there, and also the pickup configuration matters. For the most part, or almost for all the songs, I used this Music Man kind of type of sound. I believe this is bridge and middle in sequence on a dingwall, but for one song in the verses there is bass playing without any rhythm guitars, and there I used P-bass type of sound, and I think this is the neck pickup on a dingwall. Let's talk about guitars. For guitars, I'm using quad track. There are several things I want to say about quad track. First of all, quad track is a tone preference. So quad track is no better than the double track. For example, it's just a different tone, it's just a different sound. And my tone preference, I like quad track. The way I'm using the quad track, you can see there is a primary double track, let's say, which is loud, and a secondary double track, which is quieter. And this is the way how I like my quad track. People tend to say that for quad track you need to be super precise, to which I say you always need to be super precise. So in that regard, quad track is no different from double track in terms of precision. But you get, as a sub-product of using a quad track, it approximates a little bit better, right? So across all 4 tracks, you get kind of a medium, which is approximated a little bit better than when using double track. So the guitars, they sound a little bit more precise, and this just fits the style of music that I'm playing. When we take a look at the tracks themselves, there is nothing applied afterwards as well. So this is the sound as it is. This is the output of my pedal board. The settings that I used, you can see now on the picture. These are the exact settings that I used, and I call this kind of a Meshuggah Coloss-like tone that I really like. This is also the tone that was in my latest videos on the channel, and someone asked in the comments, can I explain how I did the tone? And this is basically it. These are the settings that I used. Couple of things I want to mention. As a boost, I'm using 2 pedals, Lichtlehm Audio, the Yellow King, and 1433. And Lichtlehm Audio, the Yellow King, it can mix in the other pedal. So I'm mixing in 1433, and you can choose how you mix them. And I'm using 50-50. I wanted to give more dirtiness to the tone comparing to just using a clean boost. So the Yellow King is an overdrive pedal actually, so I'm adding a little bit of drive that helps greatly with sustain. So when you hit your open 8th string and there's 0 sounds for some time, when it's a little bit dirtier, the sustain sounds better, in my opinion. And I also wanted to use a little bit of EQ, so here's that. And regarding the amplifier, I liked the cracking from the beginning, but if you crank up the treble all the way, it really opens up. So I started to actually really enjoy this amplifier when I cranked up all the treble. So it works that way. The important thing also is the cabinet or impulse that you're using to shape your tone. I'm using the onboard IR loader of the amplifier, so hence the output of the pedal board. So this is just the IR loader output of the amplifier. In the end, I'm using the Victory Kraken 4x12 dynamic IR, because there is a torpedo to notes IR loader and you can use their dynamic IRs. I did some trickery with the microphone settings there. I don't want to share them yet now, but you know all the information you need. But I did some trickery there. Let's listen to guitars isolated. They sound like that. Let's add the bass. And let's listen to everything together. There's one more thing I want to talk about regarding the rhythm guitars. If we switch to this view, you can see that I added something here, and basically this is a mixed wave Germanium boost. The reason for that is I was deep into the recording. I don't remember which song, but I wasn't quite satisfied with the way the quad track sounded. Everything was fine, but I wanted something, I don't know, more. I wanted to add some dirtiness, also some saturation on top. So I started experimenting, and basically I had this plugin laying around for some years, and I never used it because I bought it accidentally, actually. But yeah, I found it, I tried it, and I really liked it. I'm using it to 12 o'clock, and it mixed to 2, so it's really subtle, like really subtle. This high pass filter does nothing, basically. It changes nothing. But I just keep it on just in case, because there are tracks with lots and lots of big open palm mutes, and quad track with big open palm mutes can generate a lot of low frequencies, so I keep it here just in case. But what I tested during the recording, turning it on and off, it does nothing to my guitars, and this adds just a little bit of dirtiness with this mix at 2. Let's try to listen to guitars isolated, and I'm gonna switch on and off the Germanium boost. It's really subtle, nothing special, just adds a little bit of saturation and dirtiness on top. And for the track I did this, it worked out pretty good, and I decided to keep everything consistent. I will also add this boost to all of the songs. So this is the story of this plugin here. But there is a master track here, and you see here is the limiter, which is turned off, and basically I just used the limiter during the recording. So it was on during the recording, and when I stopped, I turned it off, and this mastering was turned off during the recording, and now it's turned on. But what is this mastering? Is the smart mastering in Logic Pro, something like that. So it analyzes the track and builds some master chain. I like it because I hate production, and it just solves it for me, kind of. But during the recording, you should keep it off because it messes up your recorded tracks. I don't know, there's some weird delays happening when it's turned on. So hence why I'm recording with the limiter and not with this plugin. One more note regarding this plugin, this analyze button, or reanalyze in my case, you should not use it when you select a section of the song that you want to reanalyze, in my experience, it just works better if you do it with the whole project. Maybe this is a bug or something else, but I just found that it works better if you just let it run on the whole project without selecting a specific section of the song. It works better this way. And basically what I did, I just hit analyze. It offers a master chain, and I keep the EQ here to 0%, so no EQ applied at all, because this EQ kills the character, and keeping the character was kind of the point of this whole re-recording thing. So I keep the EQ off. And the other thing that I changed is I added a little bit of loudness, and not because I wanted to, but because when I started to make those tracks, I tested them on other people, and it was said to me that they are a little bit too quiet. Nothing really critical, but still they're a little bit too quiet. But what I liked about this, that there was a lot of clarity. So I tried to add just a little bit of loudness here while still keeping the clarity that I like. I would still prefer not to do this, to not add this loudness, but it works, I guess. And this is basically it. Nothing more is happening in this project, so they are really focused on the performance. And I will end this part of the video here. But in this ending part, since this album was a huge chapter of my musical life, I want to kind of conclude this chapter to have a closure, and I just want to kind of gather some statistics what I did in that period of time. So just for myself, I guess. But here we go. And by the way, I don't know the timeline, so I'm guessing by my YouTube video history, I'm guessing 1 year and a half, something like that. But the album was written before that time period, right? So like writing an album is not that big of a deal, to be honest. Like it happens quite fast for me. So I mean, not that big of a deal in terms of time. So I will start like 1.5 years back, judging by my YouTube history. So during that period of time, I learned how to scream and do vocals, and I recorded the whole album and also recorded the vocals. I released this album. I re-recorded it now, as we learned, and I'm releasing it again. I did some work as a session musician. I recorded bass for other projects. I don't know how many songs. I guess my guess is 10 plus should be correct, more or less. I'm also reinvented my whole process of doing guitars. So all these pedal boards and amplifier, took a lot of experimenting and trial and error until I started to like the tones that I'm getting and the process itself. I did 4 full playthroughs. 2 of them are live playthroughs, so what you see on the screen is what I'm actually playing and recording. So 2 of them are live playthroughs, and I didn't do it in a while, and I would say it's nice to be back. I'm feeling better doing this kind of playthroughs. I did 3 full covers. Full covers, I mean I did record the whole song from scratch, and I did all the vocals, bass, guitars, everything. There might be +1 already, I'm not sure, by the time this video is released, I'm not sure if I released already another cover or not, but there might be already +1 at this point, might be not. I did 4 mini covers, let's say, so this is not a full song, but I still did everything, like vocals, guitars, and bass. There is also a cover of soundtrack from Bloodborne, and this is a really short one, but I still consider this as a mini cover, so there are 4 of them. I did 2 bass covers. Bass covers meaning that there is a full original song playing in the background and I'm playing the bass really loud on top. One of them is completely live, one take, another almost. I did re-record one part of the song afterwards because I really didn't like how it sounded from the take I did on camera, so almost live, but still I still enjoyed doing so. And this is the Age of Delirium, I think the song is called, the one that almost live. The Periphery song is fully one take, fully live. Okay, I actually released also one new song which is not related to the album, and it's here on YouTube. I just wrote a song, I wanted to do something with it, so it's here on YouTube in form of playthrough. I did one music video that for the song from the album. I actually started doing real YouTube videos like this one with talking and stuff, and including this one there are 7 of them. And I also did a lot of like small guitar bass videos where I just play some riff or 2 or 3, something like that. They're short videos, and I did 25 of them. And basically these videos are a sub-product of me experimenting with my new setup for guitar and trying to figure out the tones, the ways of doing stuff. So this is the recap, and I think the chapter is closed now. I don't know. Subscribe to any channel, hit the like button under any video.